I'm Kat.
And I'm Hayley.
And this is Night Class Eve.
A tipsy night class teaching the oddities and curiosities you never learned in school.
What are we drinking for this learning journey, Hayley?
I have the strawberry melon fizz. What about you?
I have, wait, let me find it. I can't find it. Kiwi mojito style.
And you said it tasted like a Christmas tree.
Christmas tree is probably the wrong word. I think I was getting mint and like peppermint confused with Christmas tree.
Like, I have no idea what the flavor is. I just know it's a green plant.
Yeah, I just
Christmas
know.
tree.
I just know it tastes wrong to be in a seltzer because it's very minty. I don't taste any kiwi. It tastes mint, and it's giving me, remember when we got those Budweiser seltzers around Christmas time and there's a cherry chocolate one?
Oh my god, the eggnog one too.
Oh yeah, it's giving me like, yeah, the eggnog was like artificial cinnamon and then the artificial chocolate. Like it's not right. It's not.
Yeah, if you did, I feel like things like this though too, it's like if you didn't know that it was coming from a can, if somebody just poured that in your drink and like made it look like a mojito, you might be like, ooh, this is like kind of good. It may not even register.
Definitely.
But I think the package that it comes in, your brain is like,
100%, because I don't think mint belongs in a drink. But
why? What?
Well, because it tastes like toothpaste. But with that being said, I love to get a mojito because you're right, having the real mint leaves that you can see tricks you into thinking it's good.
Yeah. Oh my God. I love mint. And Tommy thinks it's like a crime against humanity to put mint and chocolate together.
What?
He's never even had a York peppermint patty.
Like he refuses to try it?
Yeah. And now he can't because it gives him killer migraines. Chocolate does. Yeah. He's never even had it. So that's my jam.
Yeah,
I love
you
mint
love
and chocolate.
those things.
I do. I freaking love them. Junior mints. Oh, give it all to me.
Didn't we have some joke like a long time ago when we first started the pod? Something about a York peppermint patty.
Probably.
I think it was a title of an episode.
I think so too. There was
God.
something. I remember sitting on the couch with you. I think we were under the influence and
naturally.
And there was something about a York peppermint patty, and it was really funny. I think we were writing ideas of names for songs, like dumb parody songs.
Oh,
this is bringing back a lot of memories. If anyone knows what I'm trying to say,
I have no idea.
I'm not even sure if it made it on the show or if it was just like early in our friendship that like I get it confused with the show.
Oh my God. I wish my memory worked and I could help you out.
I mean, mine clearly doesn't either because didn't you put it in your phone at some point? Can you search in your notes app for your peppermint
I'll
patty?
Yeah.
I wish we could bring back, I guess we could if we wanted to, but our titles for each episode were wild.
They're crazy. Because there's a Google Doc where we put our show notes, and every time I scroll through, the old episode titles are still in there, and yeah, it's jarring for sure.
You have no idea. It would be something like the mole rat ate my cinnamon bun.
Yeah, and sometimes they were really vulgar.
Yeah.
For people that have no idea what we're talking about, the episodes used to not be subject titles. They used to be like funny things that were said in the episode.
And I think we've referenced episodes in the past as their original title, which is probably really confusing for people who are new here.
They just think we're insane, which is kind of true.
I mean, they're not wrong. We had an entire discussion about all the different meds we're taking right before we started the podcast.
Meds. I'm on new meds.
Yeah, I'm about to be on meds for the first time. I'm very excited.
Ayo, popping that med
scored
cherry.
severe on my anxiety evaluation.
I could have told you that.
Yeah, I've been in denial for so long. I just assumed that that everyone has panic attacks every night in bed, and didn't realize that's
God.
not normal.
Maybe we can actually celebrate your birthday this year.
Oh my God, that would be so good.
That would be so good. I think your panic attacks probably originated from having your mom as your mom during your birthdays. I think that's probably what did it for you.
Yeah, it's having a mom whose personality is very different than mine and expecting me to react the way she would in certain situations.
Her
and
personality
then
is...
I feel like there's something wrong with me because I don't. And it's not her fault.
No.
We're just very different.
She's a party person.
Yeah.
But you're on the med train.
Yes.
So.
I'm getting there. I'm excited. They're going to come in the mail.
That is so handy.
Pharmacy. Yeah.
I went to the dermatologist and at first they're like, okay, this medication that you need costs It was either $600 or $800.
Jesus,
and I was
what?
like, no, but she's like, don't worry. I have a special pharmacy in Texas that will ship it to
I have
you
a
for
special
$12.
pharmacy in my basement. Well,
It's her side gig.
That's crazy.
I know. So it's very nice to get your medications like 500% off and shipped to you.
Jeez, that's like I get eczema on my hands, and one time I went to the doctor because my hands were literally covered in blisters, and the doctor prescribed me a cream, and I went to pick it up from the pharmacy, and he hands me this like little tiny tube that's like smaller. It's the size of like a travel size tube of toothpaste. $600.
No.
I was like, no, I'll just deal with my hands. No, thank you, sir.
Oh my, this is so messed up. I
Yeah.
hate it here. America's, I'm not going to say the worst, but
it's not the worst,
pretty damn
but it's not great. We've been charting in Iceland a lot recently. So if anyone in Iceland wants to marry us,
yeah, I'll be a nice
and
baby.
then we can get citizenship in Iceland. That'd be great.
Please, please. I'm willing to go so many places.
I know I can't pay you money, but I could maybe like
I've got
tutor
a
your child.
Personality.
Yeah. I'll be your friend, maybe.
You can come on the pod.
Yeah, that'd be fun. We're looking for a new co-host if you're Icelandic and willing to grant us citizenship.
Yes, those are the two requirements. I started watching The Sopranos.
Do you like it?
I do. I'm on
Good.
season 2. And at first, the first episode, I did not like it.
Really?
I was not hooked at all. But now I'm hooked. I'm on board. And I was telling Tommy, like, I wish Tony Soprano was hot. Like, the show.
He is hot. What are you talking about? He is. He's so hot.
He's so hot.
Yeah.
What? That's insane.
Honestly,
wait,
they're kind of all hot.
What is hot? What is hot about him?
I don't know.
Please,
His
Kat?
power.
Okay, that's fair.
I think Chris and Polly are hot too. Not gonna lie. I think everyone on that show pretty much.
Yeah, I really like the guy. You know, the guy who always is like talking with his hands like this. He's like, as soon as I thought it was out,
The
they
strip
brought me.
club owner. The guy who's
Is
kind
he
of
the
hunched
owner?
over.
I
He,
thought
like,
Tony was the owner. Phil, turns out, is the guitarist for Bruce Springsteen.
Yep.
and he's also hot. I think I just like their swag. I don't know.
I could see you being a gangster's wife. I could see
You
it.
know what? If we cut out all the immorality, I'd be down. It seems like a fun little rat race. And
Yeah.
I mean this completely joking. I'm not
Absolutely.
serious. I do not condone anything they do.
But you'd be good at it.
But I'd make a good Carmela. I'm just saying.
you could, I feel like you would be a member of the team. You would be all up in there with a strategy. You would know what to do.
The tough part though is as a woman, you just have to host the social events.
We
which
don't get
I
no
would
respect.
not be- we don't get no respect. Yeah.
And I learned what gabagool is also.
It's a cold cut. I had to look up what Marone meant. So
what does
I
it
know.
mean?
It means like a Mother Mary. So it's kind of like saying like my God.
Oh,
But
okay.
I can't stop saying it.
I
I say it under my breath. I don't I don't talk like them. I know that would be probably inappropriate, but it just plays it plays in my head.
You talk
because
like that to yourself.
I talk like that in my internal monologue.
I want Tony Soprano and Dr. Melfi to bang so bad.
I feel like it's coming.
I feel like it has to be. Like I looked over to Tommy the other night and I was like, she likes him. Like,
Oh yeah. Why else would she do it?
He goes, no. I'm like, are you blind? Like,
There's a small part of her.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And we're at the part right now where they haven't like gotten back together yet. But it's coming. I know it's coming.
Yeah. She's a fixture.
Yeah.
She's important.
She's necessary. So that's that update.
That was Sopranos Hour. And then last night,
Going deep on a show that's 20 years old.
now I'm understanding you and your Harry Potter spoilers. Because if someone gave me a Sopranos spoiler, I would be pissed, even
That's a
though
big
it
step.
is an old show
That's a big
that
step.
everyone's seen.
And you know what else? I think you and I have both flopped because I looked up spoilers for a book that I'm reading and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like everything I found out, I just
Yeah.
wanted to stay on Reddit forever.
Do you ever
rather than the book?
I'm happy for you. Do you ever read the last chapter before you finish it?
I've never done that, but my friend Marissa does that, and I've always thought it was insane. But now I'm like, oh, okay. Like it's this whole fantasy series, and I found out that this character who's around here and there is like a soulmate to the main character. And I guess you don't find that out for a long time, but now I'm like seeing every interaction in a new light.
Yeah, I feel like it helps you take it in easier when you kind of know what's going to happen, especially with a long fantasy series where there's so much to remember. It's nice to have a pre-existing outline.
And not only are there so many things to remember, but at least in this series, a lot is left unsaid until it's just like casually mentioned and you're left to connect the dots yourself.
That's hard.
It's hard, okay?
My brain is stupid.
So I guess we're kind of meeting in the middle as far as spoilers go.
I've been restraining myself because last night our Bachelor Nation group text was blowing up and I still haven't seen it.
I don't know how you guys didn't watch it last night.
We were so tired. We just got back. We traveled back from Washington State. I was visiting my family and it was a long trip back. We had to leave the house at 4 a.m. So I didn't sleep at all that night. And then we flew Spirit, and I'm a princess. And
Spirit.
I did not have fun on that Spirit flight. I could not sleep. It was very uncomfortable.
You can't even recline the seats on Spirit.
Yeah,
it's like
awful.
sitting in a torture chair.
You're like, we were all in cages.
It's like those
stacked on top of each other.
Pretty much. It's like those chairs that force you to sit upright and forward that are meant to torture you. That's how I felt on this Spirit flight.
The fact that they're forward, no wonder you can't sleep.
It wasn't, but it felt like it should have been. And so didn't sleep at all that night. Also, I got COVID 2 weeks ago, so I'm still fatigued and
Double
just
down.
wasn't happening last night.
I can't believe you got it again. That sucks.
I know. I got it for the listeners. We went home to visit my family, and then I got it the second day. I tested positive, and then I was sick the whole time and pretty much slept for 2 weeks.
You're gonna have to
during
tell your
my
mom to come
vacation.
visit you because she's never gotten COVID while visiting here.
That's true. My poor stepdad, he was telling everyone, he's like, yeah, we want to come do a trip to Memphis. And my mom was like, no, we don't. I was like, what?
Oh my God.
Because she's already been here. So she's like, if we're going to spend that money on a trip, we should go somewhere we haven't been. But my stepdad hasn't been here. And so
this is a great city, especially to visit.
Yeah, I think so too. Her thing though is she wants to go on a family trip to New Orleans, which I'm on board with. That sounds great.
I'm going. I don't care if I'm invited or not.
You're invited. You're always invited.
I want to go so bad. That sounds great. I'm fully voting for that rather than a Memphis trip.
I think so too. I love Memphis, but New Orleans sounds a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Then I would get to go somewhere too.
I'm ready to drink in New Orleans.
I'm ready to go on the ghost tours.
Yes,
That's what I'm
that
there
too.
for.
Those are the two biggies. And I want to get the beignets.
The what?
Beignets, right? Is that how you say it? Beignets. Damn it. I always say it wrong. Every time. That and empanadas.
It's like you mixed it with bidet. That's why I said what. I wasn't trying to be rude.
And that's why I giggled, because I was like, wait, did she just say bidet?
Got
Speaking
bidets on
of
the mind.
Bidets. I'm going to need to get a travel bidet because I've been very spoiled. Okay, Tommy had surgery on Friday and we were in the hospital for the whole morning, and they don't have bidets at the hospital. We have one in every bathroom in our house, which is 2. But anyway.
All of our 2 bathrooms.
2 for 2. But they didn't have it at the hospital and it just feels wrong.
Yeah.
Toilet paper should never touch that delicate skin.
Yeah.
I'm pro bidet all the way.
Oh, me too. I need to get
We
one.
need to get a sponsor.
Oh, so toilet paper doesn't even dry up? You don't dry up or whatever?
Well, I do. I just pat it, but it's not like you're
okay.
smearing it across
Swiping
your
it.
valley.
Yeah. And then it gets, never mind.
I thought you were saying toilet paper was completely out, and I was like, wow, didn't even know.
Yeah, I just
She
shake
just
my
drips.
ass over. I have a bidet next to it. I have my hanging blow dryer.
With a towel saddle.
Yeah, I should just make it an assembly line, honestly.
Yeah, you just squat over your hair dryer.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's in the works now that we've came up with it.
I had an idea for an invention this morning.
Yeah.
And
what
tell
is
me
it?
if you think it's dumb.
Okay.
But I just had to buy like 6 chapsticks because I need one around me at all times, but I lose them because they're so small. What if like there was a case like shaped like a giant chapstick? Like not so giant, like maybe the size of what would
Pringles?
the size be? Not that big. The size of like a breathalyzer. Like holding it right now, and it's just like it looks like
You know, guys, the size of a breathalyzer.
It's
Something
like-
everyone like,
it fits in the palm of your hand, but it's oh my god, shut up.
no one knows what a breathalyzer looks like.
I don't know.
Just like the palm
what
of your
else is the
hand.
size of this? The palm of your hand. And it's cylindrical, the same shape as a chapstick, and you put your chapstick in it. And then there's like a spinner that you can like still like adjust it, but it's like a giant chapstick tube.
So
and
it's a
like a
holder.
bright color. Yeah, like a holder, but then you take the lid off and you can use your chapstick as normal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that could be a good idea. I would improve upon it. I would say like just make it one big chapstick, like a deodorant stick.
No.
But chapstick.
Whoa.
Because have you ever
Oh.
used a chapstick that's like huge? Like they make those giant lip smackers.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I like it to be small
just
so
gotta
it fits
kiss it,
on my
little-
lips. No. And then they wear out unevenly. You know, like the
Okay.
middle gets concave.
Yeah, so you just need a big old holder.
A big holder for a small chapstick.
Yeah, you could be changing lives here.
I mean, maybe let me know. Maybe that's just something I want.
have you seen those people who attach their remotes to a big like 2x4?
Yeah, it's the same idea. Which
think
honestly we need to do too because we lose our remotes constantly. We've bought so many Roku remotes.
Such a pressure point too. It's like when you both can't find the remote and you're both like pissed and throwing blankets.
Literally,
and pillows.
one of our remotes disappeared. We had it in our bedroom, and then one day it was gone. And then when we moved out, we're like, surely we'll find it under the rug or like in the mattress. No, it's just gone.
I'll have to ask the new people if they found it. Just show up
Did you
at their
see
house.
the new people have a chicken coop in the front
They have
yard?
a chicken coop.
What?
I don't know if they have any chickens. I doubt it, but they have a
probably
chicken
will.
coop.
Wow. No,
But
I
I
didn't
was
see
pissed. I'm like, if I would have known we could put a fucking chicken coop out there, I would have had goats and stuff.
No,
may
goats are
not-
different than chickens for one.
that. Just because they do it too doesn't mean that it's allowed.
and why would you want chickens? Now we live in an apartment. What would we have done with our chickens?
You're right. I
You
don't
would have
need
gotten
chickens.
a different house. You wouldn't have gone with the apartment.
I guess so, but God, that's
would have taken your
that's a lot
chickens.
for a chicken.
This is the old house we used to live in, the big one that everything went wrong with. If you're listening, we had a big yard. New people moved in.
The house.
And
and
there's
now
a
we
coop.
spy on them.
Yeah, we spy.
Yes, we
regularly.
drive by and really slow and stare into their yard on a regular basis. It's not creepy.
We need to drive by and leave like an anonymous says it's like we talk about this house a lot on our podcast, Night Classy.
Check it out. That
Here's a
actually
QR
would be funny.
code.
We should send them a night classy postcard
We
and
should
tell them that.
Yeah. it
and
was
also ask them if they think it's haunted.
famous night classy house. Yeah, we should. We
And
should do that.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say we can tell them that the woods told us that we want to eat their kids or something like The Watcher.
Yeah, just finish it off as soon as they were like, oh yeah, they seem nice and normal. No.
No, I don't think anything about us seems nice and normal on any level.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Sorry
true.
to break
That's
that
true.
to you.
Okay, well, we're 20 minutes in. We
Oh,
gotta
God.
get this show
We haven't
on
recorded
the
in
road.
a month, you guys.
I know.
We're
I know.
excited.
There's so much to talk about. Oh my God, I cut myself with a handsaw while you were
What?
gone. I forgot
What?
to tell you.
What?
I was doing, okay, there was this DVD holder that was so ugly. And we got a new entertainment center from IKEA that I put together by myself because Tommy had his guts all rearranged.
He got surgery.
Yeah, for a hernia. He literally had to have his intestines shoved back into place.
People at home are really trying to keep up. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, his guts
There's
rearranged.
a lot going on.
there is a lot going on. Thank God he went back to work today too, because
It's getting on your nerves.
love him so much. But that's all I'll say. So anyway, I'm like cutting with this handsaw, trying to get this excess wood off of this DVD thing because I turned it on its other side and I added legs to it. So it could be like a little like shoe storage thing.
Okay. So are you getting rid of those DVDs? Because I'm confused every time I see them.
No, we kept the DVDs and now they're in the new entertainment center.
Okay.
And there's even more room for more fucking DVDs. Anyway, I'm using this.
Why do you have DVDs?
Tommy has so many DVDs. Don't you see that when you're in their living room?
I never noticed.
Oh my
There's
God.
an entire DVD tree, like it's 1989.
Yes, that's what it is.
1999.
That's literally what it is. It's massive. There's so many. They're so ugly too, but he won't get rid of them. I was even like, can we put it in the office? And he's like, I like to look at them.
It's like his library.
It is his library. It's just, for some reason, he loves it so much. So I said, okay, we'll get the new entertainment center. And I'm trying to like DIY, renovate this ugly DVD thing to make it a different storage thing. And I'm using this saw that's pointed at the end because it was the cheapest one at Home Depot. And I didn't want to buy an electric saw. And it was just poor hand placement. And I'm going back and forth. And then it slips and goes right into my hand. And it looks like nothing now. It's had quite a bit of time to heal. It looks like nothing.
It does look like nothing.
But it was deep.
Ooh.
It was so deep. And it was bloody.
The mark of Christ.
That's rough.
So I survived.
Cruciform.
Wow. I'm glad you
Yes.
survived. Yeah, it's your stigmata. You need to tell
my
people that you
God,
just woke up like that.
I should have just kept it open just all the time. I was putting so much new skin on it.
What?
You know, that like liquid skin stuff.
Oh my God. I had no idea what you were talking.
Yeah. I shaved Safety and skin grafted him. But anyway, I have one more announcement.
Okay.
And you have an announcement. Are we going to trade? I'll do Patreon. You do the other thing.
Yeah, let's do
We're
that.
planners, y'all. I just wanted to shout out our patron, Miss Kay Reed. She upped her pledge
Woo!
to Nightcat. So she not only before, she got access to our List Bitch, our exclusive bonus show where we do what we do here, but in list form. She's been on our live cocktail hours. Love those so much. She got her free Night Classy sticker. She got her shout out, but she's getting another one again for joining Nightcat. And now she has access to Trivia Night.
Our favorite.
That is where we go back. Alec listens to somehow all of our old episodes, 3 at a time, and he comes up with questions for us. I don't know how good we are at remembering. We've done pretty good.
I think we are. I would rate us fair.
We've done fair. Yes. Not great, not bad.
Yeah.
But it's so fun to explore those old topics and see what each of us remembers, especially about each other's lessons, which is not a lot, but it always makes for a fun show. So welcome, Kay Reed, to the Nightcat level.
Yes, thank you, Kay. We love you.
We do so much. Her and I went to high school together. So
Oh, that's fun.
I know. She's
Did
like,
she bully you?
no.
Did you bully her?
No, I did. We were friends, I would say. I don't know. We didn't sit at the same lunch table. I did date an ex-boyfriend of hers, so I hope she's over it. I'm over it.
It seems like she's over it.
I would say that's the only point of any issues or bullying, but I don't think it was ever a problem.
Did he tell you any secrets about her when you started dating him?
No, she's just an all-around
I don't know
great
why I'm
gal.
trying to get dirt on Kay. I'm sorry.
Kay is great, and she'll have to join us again for our next cocktail hour because everything was a little choppy last time.
Yeah.
we couldn't hear her, but I'm sure.
Wait, things were choppy last time?
Yeah, remember she was trying to talk, and it was every other word, and she was in the middle. I could tell it was something interesting. I don't remember what the hell we were talking about, but
That's
I was
right.
no, Kay.
Yeah, her connection was a little wacky. Maybe she thought that by upping her pledge, the Patreon gods would reward her with better connection.
Wi-Fi not provided.
Right. And speaking of cocktail hour, we have a cocktail hour not this coming Friday, but next Friday, the 5th. That's going to be at 7 p.m. Central. If you're a Patreon at any level, you will have access to the Zoom link on Patreon. And we are drinking a drink called the Painkiller.
It's so perfect because if you all don't know, we are in education for our careers.
Yeah.
and we're going back to school. You had your first day back today, actually.
I did. I didn't have any children, but I went back and sat in meetings for 6 hours.
Could have used a painkiller.
So I definitely could have used a painkiller. Not that anything causes us pain, but sometimes there are headaches involved when you have a room full of children that you love, but they're loud.
Yeah, kids are kids, and summer is summer. The best part of the job? No.
Couldn't be me. But anyway, so we're drinking a drink called the Painkiller. It's basically a glorified, unblended pina colada.
Yes.
And that recipe will be on Patreon in advance so that you can make it and drink along with us.
Yeah, come hang out with us.
Yeah.
I better see you bitches there.
We're fun.
I think
fuck.
we're fun. Yeah. Is that all?
Yeah, that's all I have. We breathalyzed.
We did. I blew a point 026.
And I blew a point to 011.
I win.
Bitch.
Okay. Yes, I'm very sorry, but I'm also not sorry because I'm really excited for this learning journey.
Ooh.
This is a special hand-picked by our patron, Miss Riley Bassetti.
Woo!
I think that's how you say your last name, Riley. But
I
shout
love
out
Riley.
to you, Riley. I know. I forgot to message her. She is working on her PhD.
Yeah.
I think she had this huge presentation. She was telling us about super interesting stuff on the last cocktail hour. So Riley, I hope that went well. I had so much fun researching this topic, and let's get to it. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Loretta Pleasant was born August 1st, 1920 in Roanoke, Virginia, but she's always been called Henrietta. Her family isn't really sure to this day where that name came from or why she was called Henrietta and not Loretta, but that's the name she was born with, Loretta. Henrietta, though, was remembered for her friendly smile. She had hazel eyes like myself. She always wore red nail polish. And when she was 4 years old, her mother was actually giving birth to her 10th child.
God bless.
10th child. But she unfortunately did die due to complications from giving birth
From having
in the
10
20s.
children.
Yeah, that too. She was like, I'm a head out.
Yeah, I don't blame her.
How was
Tragic, but also don't blame her. Yeah.
2's the limit for
The
me.
limit does exist.
Yes, it does.
And it's 9, apparently.
Very clear. Henrietta's father was unable to care for 9 kids alone. So, apparently. So, he moved the family to Clover, Virginia, where the children were then dispersed amongst different relatives to be raised by them. I know,
fuck?
right? Right? Henrietta ended up with her maternal grandfather, Thomas Tommy Henry Lax, in a 2-story log cabin that was once the slave quarters on the plantation that had been owned by Henrietta's white great-grandfather and great-uncle. Here she shared a room with her first cousin and future husband.
Oh, no. How old was she when she moved in?
4.
How old was he?
9.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I was not sure. I was like, okay, so she's sharing a room with 2 people. And then I had to Google to confirm. No, she did marry her first cousin.
Okay.
David Day Lax. So, but they loved each other and got along.
I mean,
so
if it works.
Things were different. Things were different. Henrietta did attend the designated school for Black people that was 2 miles away from the log cabin. But like most of her family, she dropped out of school around 6th grade and worked as a tobacco farmer from an early age. She had her first child with David when she was 14 years old. Yeah.
This is adding up to not good.
It is.
Yeah.
This whole learning journey is quite the roller coaster.
Yeah.
Quite the roller
He was
coaster.
5 years older than her, right?
Yeah, so he was 19.
Yikes.
Yeah, and her cousin.
Yeah, and they were sharing not great.
Not great. She had another child 4 years later, so when she was 18, and then when she was 20 years old, she and David got married. Later that year, their cousin actually convinced them to leave the tobacco farm and move to Turner Station in Baltimore so that David could work for a steel company. So they did that. And then it wasn't long before their cousin was drafted. I don't know how David didn't get drafted for World War II, but
I guess not everyone got drafted, right?
I guess not. He didn't, but their cousin did. When his cousin got drafted, he left Henrietta and David his life savings.
What? He was just like, I don't think I'll come back.
He's not optimistic.
I mean, I might, but yeah,
at all. He's like, if I do return, you'll remember that I left you my life savings, right?
Yeah,
right?
He had anxiety.
Yeah, for sure. So with that money, they bought a house in one of the oldest and largest Black communities in Baltimore at the time. There, they had 3 more children. And in 1950, Henrietta had been experiencing irregular bleeding, and she felt a knot in her stomach. She told this to her cousins, and they all just assumed that she was pregnant. Turns out they were correct. She had her last child, Joseph. He was born at the Johns Hopkins Hospital in November 1950. Also, let it be known, I hate the name Johns Hopkins.
Why?
It's like Ruth's Chris.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be?
Why is there an S in there?
Yeah.
That's true. I didn't think about that. I feel like I just always call it John Hopkins.
Me too, because that's how it should be.
Yeah.
What is
there an
I don't-
apostrophe? Is
No.
it possessive? No.
No, it's plural. Johns Hopkins.
That's weird. I don't know.
It's weird. I hate it. So anyway, even after the birth of Joseph, the knot remained and the bleeding continued. Henrietta suffered a severe hemorrhage and went to see her general physician. There they tested her for syphilis, which was negative, and then they referred her back to Johns Hopkins. In January 1951, Howard W. Jones was Henrietta's doctor, and he took a biopsy of the mass that they found in her cervix. She was then diagnosed with a malignant epidermoid carcinoma of the cervix. It wasn't until 1970, though, that physicians realized that she had been misdiagnosed and actually had adenocarcinoma, but this mistake was common and the treatment would have been the same for both, so it didn't really matter. But I thought that was interesting that like 20 years later they were like, oh, that was
just kidding,
wrong.
What's the difference?
That's a great question.
Okay.
From what I saw, I know the shapes of the cells
If you
are
don't know,
different.
it's
I
okay.
think I'm trying to pull from what I read because I know I did look it up, but I didn't include it in the notes because I'm like, that's gonna be too much detail.
Yeah, if it's confusing, don't bother.
I think the shape of the cells are different.
Okay.
Other than
There we
that,
go.
I don't know. Henrietta was treated with radium tube inserts into her vagina, going into her cervix, which I looked up. They are scary looking.
Yeah, shoving radium up your vagina sounds pretty fucking scary.
Not sound great.
No.
Yeah. She was discharged a few days later and asked to return for x-rays. During these treatments, Lawrence Wharton Jr. decided to take some tissue samples without her consent and without her knowledge. One sample was healthy tissue and the other was cancerous. He planned on the samples to be used for clinical evaluation and research by George Otto Gay. Now, while these samples were sitting in the lab, they noticed something peculiar about her cells. They were doubling every 20 to 24 hours.
Whoa.
And they weren't dying off. Typically, cells would die after a few days at most. But hers were not dying. She had cells on cells on cells.
She was special.
She was. AKA her cancer was aggressive. Gay propagated the cells, and they were the first human cell line to survive in vitro. This was huge. At the time, researchers spent more time to keep cells alive in the lab than they were actually even able to conduct experiments. So what would later be known as the HeLa cells changed all of this. So it's named after her. Basically, it's the first 2 letters of her first name and the first 2 letters of her last name. Capital H, lowercase e, uppercase L, lowercase a, HeLa cells. Gay freely shared the cell line with other doctors and researchers, sending them all over the world, along with the tools and the information about processes to anyone who asked for them, which, from what I understand, is not the typical protocol. He was just sending them out. All you had to do was request it.
You get a cell.
You get a cell.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. Like, they were all over the world. And meanwhile, Henrietta is still being treated for her cancer.
And has no idea.
She has no idea. And she never found out. She never found out.
See,
Kat.
why didn't anyone tell her?
Well, one thing is that at the time, it was not protocol to ask a patient for their permission to take their cells and use
you just
them.
kind of could.
But you would think for something so revolutionary.
Yeah, you would think you'd just let her know, like, hey, fun fact.
You have crazy cells, girl.
Yeah, and they're being sent around. I'd want to know.
I would want to know too. And spoiler alert, her family doesn't find out for a long time either.
Yeah.
So she's still being treated for cancer. She arrives at Johns Hopkins in August 1951 for a routine treatment session. But this time she asked to be admitted to the hospital. She was experiencing some severe abdominal pain. And unfortunately, she did receive multiple blood transfusions, but she never got to leave the hospital again. She died on October 4th, 1951. The cancer had metastasized throughout her entire body, and she was buried in an unmarked grave in the family cemetery in Laxtown, Virginia. She did end up getting a grave marker after all of this came out about them not getting permission, no one knowing that they were using her cells. And again, another spoiler alert, her cells changed the world. Before Henrietta's cells were studied, other cells cultured for research labs didn't survive more than a few days at most. So there's only so much testing that could be done. When George Otto Gay witnessed Henrietta's cells produced at such a high rate and lived so much longer than other cells, he knew instantly they were special. They could divide multiple times without dying, and they became as immortal. So they're known as Henrietta's immortal cells, which I think is so cool. But stealing Henrietta's cells one time was not enough. When she died, Gay had his lab assistant take more HeLa samples from Henrietta's body while it was at the autopsy facility. And to me, there are so many different sides to this coin. It's amazing what her cell line has been able to do for advancing research. But at the same time, it's, I think, a disgrace that they never obtained permission from Henrietta.
It's really fucked up. And if she weren't a black woman, it would have been a totally different story. Mm-hmm. I don't see why. I mean, clearly because they just didn't give a fuck. But like, why no one could have just asked her husband or her dad, is it okay if we collect cells? Because they probably would have said yes.
I would think so too. And the family is very proud of what her cells have been able to do. But there are definitely still reparations to be paid. And I think you're totally right. I think if she would have been a white woman, the story would have been different. Perhaps they would have still taken it without her permission, but they may have told her. It may not have taken 20 years for the family to find out. It would have looked different because America, I mean, racism exists. It's very real.
Yeah,
and
it's still rampant, especially in medical treatment.
Yes, especially in medical treatment. So Gay started a cell line from Henrietta's sample by isolating one specific cell and just repeatedly dividing it, which allowed for many experiments. And that's how we got the HeLa cell line. It has led to numerous scientific breakthroughs, vaccines, treatments, research. In 1954, Jonas Salk used the HeLa cell line in developing the polio vaccine, which was huge. Yay, no more polio.
Someone just got polio.
I saw that in New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
How?
I think.
How is this?
Because I don't know for sure, but I would assume because someone didn't vaccinate their child. And I could be wrong because I haven't read much about it, but
I saw that too. All of these things coming back. Like, why are we regressing?
Because people on the internet can spread conspiracy theories and be in like their own little crazy bubble of craziness.
I know. There was this girl, Tommy showed me a video of a girl on TikTok. Her video is completely ridiculous. She's talking about like how the James Webb telescope is like all a farce, and like why would they point it in the same direction and take the same picture as Hubble did? Like so we can compare it, so we can see what we know is there. Yeah. Like, it was just completely ridiculous. And he showed me that on his phone. The next day, that was on Night Classy TikTok's FYP.
I sometimes get those crazy conspiracy theory videos, too.
Our TikTok algorithm is fucked.
It's really fucked. And usually, I just forget to log off of Night Classy's account, so I'm looking on that For You page. And I think because we sometimes hashtag conspiracy in our videos or conspiracy theory, we get some weird stuff.
We definitely do. I'm never on my personal one.
Me either. we basically just share a personal TikTok account.
We do. It's kind of fun.
It's fun. I swear there's people on our TikTok that don't realize we're two different people.
Oh my God. I know. With them saying like my Valley Girl accent is better.
Oh my God. So embarrassing. We got yet another review criticizing the Valley Girl accent.
Really?
I think you saw it. I put it on our story.
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah.
I thought I was like, another one.
But
no.
Yeah, I think it's to the point where I might have to see like an acting coach to redo my accent.
No, you shouldn't. You are who you are. Like, let it be.
But at the same time, I've been told it's annoying by so many people since this podcast, and I didn't even realize I talked that way, and apparently I do really badly.
Huh. Well, let the record show I have a very neutral accent.
You do.
I am not the one. No.
You're not the one fucking it up for all of us.
Don't come
for me. That's on me. I'm sorry about all those 1 and 2
That's
star
what you can use. That'll be your thing. Your monthly allowance can go to voice class.
Honestly, I think I might need to, because then I was on Reddit yesterday and someone asked like, what's the most annoying accent or something, like asked like the American subreddit, something like that. Valley Girl was almost unanimously number one.
You're like, okay, let me get medicated.
Maybe that'll help with my voice. I don't know where I got it from either. I don't know. It's a curse. I've been cursed.
Yeah, you're just a Seattle girl at heart, I think.
Yeah.
Through and through.
Does anyone else in Seattle who's listening have a Valley Girl accent?
All my friends, or like most of my friends do.
Okay.
I think it's just a West Coast accent.
Yeah.
But like the older generation doesn't. Like my parents and their friends don't talk like this. I don't know. It's a problem. It's a real problem.
I like it. I'm
Thank
into
you.
it. I think that's a great way to tell us apart too.
It is. But then I think with podcasting, you don't want someone that sounds like this. Like it took me a long time to like listen to My Favorite Murder because I thought Georgia's voice was annoying and she talks like I do. So
okay, what if we got you just a voice box to talk through and it changed you to
Changed
like
my
one of those really deep like
Hello, Hayley.
anonymous. I'm Kat.
yeah, like or it's like the robot voice from TikTok.
Yeah.
I just type out what I want to say in real time and it spits it out in a robot voice.
Oh my God, you would get so much hate for that too.
Yeah, that would be worse. That would definitely be worse.
That'd be problematic even.
How would it be problematic?
I don't know. I just thought of like, what's his name? Stephen Hawking. And people would be like,
yeah, if I use Stephen Hawking's voice, maybe. No, I need to learn how to talk like you. Maybe you could give me a lesson.
Yeah, we'll go for a deep immersion trip to Cincinnati and you can get that sweet, sweet Southern Ohio accent.
That would be perfect. I feel like I've picked up a little bit of Southern twang being down south, and now it's just like double annoying because it's like a Southern Valley Girl accent.
Yeah, everyone just is like getting whiplash listening to you.
It's an issue. Thank you if you've made it this far.
Acquired taste. That's what it is.
You know what? That sounds like a backhanded compliment, and I was
going to say it's flattering.
Okay.
You know, you can't be for everyone.
I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but I'm someone's shot of whiskey. That stupid
meme. Oh my God, that like modern farmhouse.
Yeah.
Type. Oh my God. Okay. Well.
Okay. Sorry.
In the meantime. I love recording when we haven't been together.
I know,
in
it's
weeks.
so much fun.
Okay, so the HeLa cell line is doing the most. In 1985, the HeLa cells laid the groundwork for the HPV vaccine. Yay!
Woo, I have that.
I have that. I got that. I didn't get all of my shots, but
Go back.
Well, I did now because when I was at the doctor in like 2020, she's like, you have irregular cells. And then she looked at my paperwork. She's like, you never completed your HPV stuff from when you were a kid. And I was like,
probably because it hurt so bad the first time. You didn't want to go back.
I just blamed it all on my mom.
I mean, it kind of is your mom's fault. I'm not going to lie.
So I have them all now.
Okay.
But yeah, that's something I live with now.
Yeah.
Anywho, it's fine. Everything's
Anywhoozle.
fine. I do my regular appointments. Chester M. Southam injected HeLa cells into unknowing cancer patients, prison inmates, and healthy individuals.
Yikes.
He wanted to study whether or not cancer could be transmitted and if someone could become immune to cancer by triggering an acquired immune response.
So he was just giving people cancer cells, thinking it might give them cancer.
And it did.
Oh
It
my
did.
God.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's totally fucked up. And that's what is so insane about this learning journey is that we found out so much, and it's been such a wonderful thing to have the HeLa cell line, but it's so fucked up.
Oh, I mean, a lot of the modern medicine we have today is thanks to people
the
who
Nazis.
suffered for it.
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, and yeah. Ugh. Anyway, the HeLa cells were thrust into mass production and, again, mailed to scientists all over the world. They were used to research cancer, AIDS, radiation, toxic substances, gene mapping, and so much more. In 1955, HeLa cells were the first human cells to be successfully cloned, and they were also used to test human sensitivity to things like tape and glue and cosmetics.
Okay, so you can test it on the cells instead of like an animal.
Yeah, so I have no idea why animal testing is even still a thing.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I clearly don't know enough to really have too much of an opinion on this, but it seems like it shouldn't be a thing for things like cosmetics. You know, like stuff like that.
I don't know enough, but I'm still putting my foot down that animal testing should not be a thing.
Yeah.
Almost 11,000 patents today involved HeLa cells, so they've been using them. In the early 1970s, a large portion of the HeLa cells became contaminated, and this is crazy. They can be difficult to control because they grow so well, and with improper maintenance, they've been known to venture outside of, their petri dish and contaminate other cell cultures in the same lab.
They're just going on a world tour. It's like the octopus at the aquarium.
Oh my God, yes. So that's not good. And it forces researchers to declare results invalid. In fact, it's estimated that 10 to 20% of in vitro cell lines are contaminated with HeLa cells today.
Oh my God.
I know.
What happens when you get in vitro and it's contaminated?
I don't know. I don't know as far as what they do after they just throw out or get rid of whatever cells were contaminated. Obviously, and maybe Riley can let us know. I feel like she would definitely know about this.
I feel like she's probably screaming internally through this whole lesson. Not that you're doing a bad job, because you're doing a great job, but every time we do a Patreon lesson that it's like it's someone's bread and butter, like what they know about. It's like,
I'm like, why don't you just come
you want to
on?
just do it for me?
Why don't you write up the notes? I'll read it in my robot voice.
Yeah. We'll put like a voice modulator on you, like anonymous or something. So.
Yes. That's what we really need. But Riley, let us know. But I have to think that they just kept using some of the cells after they were contaminated by the HeLa cells. And since Gay did replicate one specific cell, I don't know if it's considered like cancerous or just cancerous in the sense that it just duplicates itself well. So if you can like copy DNA onto that cell's genome and you can like make a bigger sample, you know, kind of like using yeast to make your bread rise, right?
Same.
Like that's what I'm picturing. I am so sorry. Let me just say that.
It's like yeast.
You know, yeast, bread,
Yeast, weast. You get it.
everyone likes bread and butter. It's good. Everything's fine.
Like some sourdough bread.
I wish
Extra
I was
yeast steam.
Oh my God. That sounds so good, actually.
I know.
We need to go to Cheesecake Factory.
Oh my God, we do.
We've never been together.
That's true.
We need to change that.
I like the burger with the mac and cheese on it.
Oh, that sounds so good.
And the fried avocado egg rolls.
Ooh, I've never had that. I don't even remember what I got
It's
last
just
time.
like guacamole in a wonton wrapper fried.
Hey,
It's
if it's
really
fried,
fucking good.
it's probably going to be good.
It's
It
good.
doesn't really matter what it is. Researchers needed HeLa cells, and they sought out Henrietta's family after that huge batch had become contaminated. And they sought out Henrietta's family hoping that they could donate some blood samples to see if, you know, it's just something special about her cells. But the Lax family was super confused because they're receiving all of these random phone calls requesting their blood.
Yeah, I would think it was a scam.
I would definitely think it was a scam. And we're like, what are you talking about? No, you can't have my blood. And again, it wasn't until 1975 that the Lax family learned that scientists were still using the materials that originated from Henrietta Lacks in 1951. The family never batted an eye at their mother's passing, and they had just moved on with their lives. But with this news, their curiosity piqued, and they started asking questions.
Wait, they never batted an eye at their mother's passing?
Yeah, I mean,
they didn't
they were
care?
never like, like do a full autopsy. Like she
they
didn't have
didn't
cancer.
ask
Like,
questions.
yeah. No, I'm sure they cried many tears. Okay, good. No one gave the physicians at Johns Hopkins permission to take a sample of Henrietta's cells, let alone use them, ship them across the globe, and profit off of them. But at the time, permission was not necessary and typically not sought out. So also in the 80s, family medical records were published without family consent, which is crazy.
What the hell?
I know. What the hell?
What the hell?
In 1990, the Supreme Court of California ruled that, quote, a person's discarded tissues and cells are not their property and can be commercialized.
What the fuck?
Right?
That's crazy.
I'm like, okay, that's like that story that I told when we crossed over with drinking the Kool-Aid, where that guy wanted to keep his leg and mummified it, and he had to steal it.
it's true though. Like I think if like maybe for science, like I don't know, like that, but I don't know. It's a fine line when you say commercialized. It's like, what could that mean? Like, what if it's something nefarious?
Yes, that's the part that made me feel icky.
Yeah.
And I understand disposing of the dead properly.
Yeah.
But my body, my cells.
Is my body, my cells. And also, it's like her cells helped a lot of people, but also they were being injected into people to give them cancer. That's fucked up.
It's
I wouldn't
totally
want that
fucked.
happening to my cells.
I know. The Lax family found out that researchers published the DNA sequence of the genome strain of HeLa cells in 2013, only thanks to Rebecca Skloot, who informed them. She did a ton of research on this whole case. She wrote a book about it.
Is it the Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks? Mm-hmm. I think I read that, or maybe I received it as a gift and haven't read it yet.
I think I read the title page.
I'm pretty sure I own it.
Well, it's definitely on my reading list. I read an excerpt of it for this research, but I'd like to read the whole thing. She's very close with the family, and Oprah Winfrey actually made a movie based on the book where she played Henrietta Lacks' sister, or no, her daughter, I mean. But anyway, Henrietta's granddaughter, Jerry Lacks Y, told the New York Times, quote, the biggest concern was privacy. What information was actually going to be out there about our grandmother, and what information they can obtain from her sequencing that will tell them about her children and grandchildren going down the line.
Yeah, it's true. It's like, okay, she has passed away, But what about me? Like, what, if you're related to her, it's like, what can they find out about me? And there might be possible repercussions.
Yeah. It's like, who got caught with like 23andMe, the Golden State Killer?
Yeah.
It's like, if you're going to do DNA stuff like that, like you're consenting to put your DNA out there into this database. But by
23andMe is fully consensual. You know that someone's going to have your DNA. This is not that.
Later that same year, the National Institutes of Health also submitted a genome for the HeLa cells for publication. Luckily, the Lax family and the National Institutes of Health did reach an agreement which allowed the Lax family some control and access over the cell's DNA sequence, along with a promise of acknowledgement in scientific papers. Now, 2 Lax family members, they have joined the 6-member committee over which regulates access to the sequenced DNA, just 50 years after all of this. But I guess better late than never.
I guess.
For as crucial a tool as the HeLa cell line is in biomedical research, the Lax family have been completely shut out from the conversation into like the 2010s. The Lax family is suing the pharmaceutical company Thermo Fisher Scientific. I believe the case opened in October 2021, so not long ago. And they are demanding reparations and the intellectual property of the HeLa cells.
Fucking good.
Yes.
As they should.
The lawsuit accuses a racist medical system and accuses Thermo Fisher of using the HeLa cell line without their consent and making billions of dollars in profit. The Lax family has a legal team, including Ben Crump, who represented families of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd, and Chris Seeger, who has won settlements against defendants like Volkswagen and the NFL. I have high hopes for this case.
Yeah.
The legal claim is considered one of unjust enrichment. Crump argues it's also one of civil rights. Quote, "It's really indicative of the Black struggle for equality and respect in America because it's a racial justice issue. When you think about it in the purest form, the children of Henry Ford, they've been able to benefit from his contributions to the world."
Totally.
And I think that's a perfect
that
example.
Sums it up.
How the judge rules in this case will definitely set a precedent for generations to come. For example, what does it mean for someone to own their cells? How can research subjects be recognized? What is the responsibility of scientists to acknowledge past wrongs?
Yeah.
And Thermo Fisher is not the only company selling the HeLa cell line and profiting, but the Lax family says they're just the first one they plan on suing.
Yeah. Good for them. I know it's like kind of controversial, like some people, I don't know, but it comes down to, like you said, it's like, it's similar to intellectual property. Like her family they're not their cells, just like it's not Henry Ford's, like not the family of Henry Ford's trucks, but it's a capitalist system and we are supposed to profit by our like past relatives.
Generational wealth.
Yeah, just generational wealth. And it was like it
was taken from her. It was stolen from her. And when you're making billions in profits, there's more than enough to go around.
Totally. Yeah. And they're making billions off the backs of a racist medical system and someone who didn't consent to have their cells taken and just done whatever they want with them.
Right. And it's not like she had the strongest foundation to start out with. Her mom died when she was 4. She dropped out of school in 6th grade. She married her first cousin.
Right. She was vulnerable.
Completely vulnerable.
And that's why they were able to get away with it for so long.
Yeah. So Thermo Fisher wants the judge to dismiss the case completely, but it's still on so far. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm really hoping that the judge judges in favor of the Lax family. Henrietta's legacy is alive and well with a HeLa cell line in research and pop culture. We already talked about Rebecca Skloot, but We already talked about Rebecca Skloot documenting the history of the HeLa cells and the Lax family in articles. Their family has also written books and done interviews. There's so much information about this. But they also started the Henrietta Lacks Foundation, which provides funds such as college tuition and funds for medical procedures, not only for Henrietta's family, but others who were either in or had an immediate family member subject to historic research like the Tuskegee syphilis studies and the human radiation experiments. Numerous plaques have been made, statues raised, laws made, honorary degrees given, inductions to halls of fame, awards, buildings, conventions, and a minor planet named after Henrietta Lacks.
Fun.
I know, that's it. That's on my bucket list. Get a planet named after me. But I would say her greatest legacy of all is that the estimation of lives that her cell line has saved is at about 10 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And that was our learning journey. All thanks to Riley Bassetti putting us on to Miss Henrietta Lacks. I hope you all enjoyed it.
Yeah. Thank you, Riley. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. My sources are an excerpt from The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks by Rebecca Skloot, Henrietta Lacks Wikipedia page, the HeLa Wikipedia page, Alameda Health System, Henrietta Lacks Immortal Impact on Modern Medicine, Family of Henrietta Lacks files lawsuit over use of stolen cells, lambast racist medical system by Democracy Now!, Thermo Fisher seeks dismissal of Henrietta Lacks family lawsuit, and what are HeLa cells on WebMD?
Well, thank you for that learning journey.
You're welcome.
Let's hear from our sponsor, and we'll BRB.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. I cannot tell you how much better my life is when I'm talking to a therapist. I truly believe that everyone can benefit from services like this, whether you're feeling down and out or you're feeling anxious or there's a big change coming. That's a big thing for me, even if it's like, I know what going back to school is like, but that doesn't make it any less anxiety inducing. And without a healthy mind, being truly happy and at peace is hard. But let me tell you, therapy works. And the great thing about therapy is that it's whatever you want it to be. You can bring something to the table ahead of time, or maybe you just talk through some day-to-day issues with your therapist. It's, again, whatever you need it to be. It's time for you to stop being ashamed of these normal human struggles, because we all are struggling a little bit, I think. But you can start feeling better. You deserve to be happy. Trust me, it's great. We don't always feel that way, but when we do, you're like, oh yeah, this is better than sleeping all day. And now you don't have to worry about finding an in-person therapist near you to help. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. So you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Join the millions of people who are seeing what online therapy is really about. It is always a good time to invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. Special offer to Night Classy listeners. You can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/classy. That's betterhelp.com/classy. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast, and thanks to you listeners who use our code. It helps us a ton. Enjoy.
Hi.
Hello.
We're back in this very unflattering light. I keep
know,
looking
my
at
forehead
the computer.
So wrinkled.
I look like a ghost. The light is hitting me, so I'm just like an egg.
You do
very
kind of
bright.
look like an egg. You're a cute egg.
Thank you. Anyway, we're back and I'm ready to go. I considered just like starting my lesson. Just
no
introduction.
re-entry?
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay.
Scrap all of this. Delete it.
I'll delete it. All right, here we go. On May 18th, 1980, Harry R. Truman was hanging out with his 16 cats in his lodge overlooking Spirit Lake in Washington State, when in a sudden flash of heat, his body was nearly or possibly fully vaporized instantly.
No,
Harry.
not Harry.
He likely died of heat shock in less than a second before being buried under 150 feet of volcanic debris.
Oh no, you're vapor, Harry. You're vapor.
Truman was killed by the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens, also named Luala Clo, or the Smoking Mountain, by indigenous people of the area.
Oh my gosh, you want to talk about anxiety? I will never forget the morning. On the news, they're showing like Mount St. Helens, talking about like the historic explosion that happened. And my mom was like telling me about how it could happen again anytime. And there are plenty of places all over the United States. She's like Yellowstone, that would destroy half of the United States if it exploded.
That's like Mount Rainier. It's supposed to erupt God knows when, pretty much any day.
Yeah.
Destroy Washington State.
Wrecked me.
It is pretty scary, but also the odds of it happening in our lifetime are so low. Like, we're much more likely to be killed by like a tornado.
Yeah.
Which we don't have in
climate
the
change.
PNW. Yeah, climate change, for real. The volcano had long been active, erupting periodically over the last 4,500 years, and its most recent eruption was not without warning. So with volcanoes, the nice thing is you know kind of when it's going to happen. Like, you don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but like you'll see the signs before it blows.
Does it start like smoking a little bit? Or
there's earthquakes. Sometimes it steams or smokes, like mostly earthquakes, but there are a lot of signs. So these signs were being seen. Like, they knew it was going to blow.
You got 16 cats. You're not just going to up and leave.
It's hard to put 16 cats in a car.
You're going to take your chances.
Yeah, and Harry Truman did. He was repeatedly urged to evacuate over and over again, but he very publicly refused. He loved refusing and talking about why he was refusing, which ultimately led to not only his death, but also his status as a folk hero, despite maybe some interesting personal details about him. To a lot of people.
Oh my God.
I mean, I wasn't alive in the 80s because I'm so young, but but apparently he was a big deal in his time. A little bit about Truman, and everyone calls him Truman. That's his last name, but we're going to call him Truman from now on. I had to command, find, and then change.
Okay.
Everywhere where I wrote Harry.
Little thing about Truman, he was president.
Different Harry Truman, but yeah, there's one of those too. Truman did not know his exact birthday, but he was born sometime in October in 1896 in Ivydale, West Virginia.
People who are like that amaze me.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Tommy's mom is unsure.
Doesn't know her birthday?
Yeah, she's like, I'm not really sure.
Does she not have a birth certificate?
She was born in Ecuador.
And then
so I think a lot just got, I don't know.
Just got lost.
Yeah, she doesn't like really, I guess, remember going to school. I don't know like what part of Ecuador they're growing up in. So I don't know if she does have that birth certificate or what. But
I guess there's a lot of people that don't have birth certificates, even in the U.S. Like, if you're in a really rural place, you know, it happens, I guess. But still wild to me.
I know.
Did she get to pick her own birthday?
Yeah, it's in May, I believe. April or May.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did she choose for her sign?
I think she's a Gemini.
Ooh, why would you choose that? Just kidding.
Oh my God. No, I get it. I grew up, my mom and brother are Geminis, so.
That's rough. What would you choose if you could choose one?
Virgo.
You just want to be the same?
Yeah, it'd be so weird to be anything else. Also, I don't know. The only true signs I know are mine and the people that I really care about. So I know you're, what, Pisces?
No, I'm a Capricorn, so I guess you don't care about me.
I guess not.
I just feel like Capricorns are like the biggest stick in the muds. Like, we're like the boring sign.
Are you?
The like cold, like aggressive, boring one. Not even aggressive, just like robotic. I don't know.
This whole time I thought you were Pisces because I
don't even know what Pisces is. It's a fish.
Me either.
I think I've always gotten along really well with Leos. So I think like that one kind of speaks to me.
I'm close to a Leo.
Kind
Kinda. What? No, my sign. It goes like Cancer, Leo, Virgo.
Nice. Anyway, Truman not only didn't know his birthday, he also didn't know his middle name. He simply gave the initial R. Although on his World War II draft registration card, it lists his middle name as Raynell. So I don't know if he just like had to make it up on the spot when he registered, or if he like claimed he didn't remember
you
later
can make
on.
that shit up. My
sure.
great-grandfather's name was literally TC. Like that was it. It was just 2 letters. And when I was looking at his draft cards on Ancestry, as I've been doing, trying to get citizenship elsewhere. They made him make something up. So he made up Thomas C. Hegwood.
They're like, you just have to figure out something for the T.
Yeah,
The
we
C
don't
is
care
fine.
about the C. Just figure out the T.
Yeah.
What's the T?
What's the T? So yeah, he probably just chose Raynell, which is a pretty cool name, honestly.
It is. I like it.
And when Truman was a kid, he moved west with his family to Washington, where they settled on 160 acres of farmland in Lewis County. After high school, Truman joined the U.S. Army, where he was stationed in France during World War I. So he served in World War I. I think he just registered for the draft for World War II. I don't think he ever went. Well, I know he didn't go. And in World War I, Truman never saw combat. He was never involved in any engagements with the enemy, but he did still sustain injuries due to his quote-unquote audacious and independent nature.
Oh, boy.
And I think what that probably means, I couldn't find any elaboration, but I assume either fighting like with other people in the military, or maybe getting beat up for disobeying orders.
Yeah, he sounds like he might be a slight asshole. Like before he was revered, maybe people were rubbed the wrong way by him.
He's a complicated man. He was let's call him like strong-willed and opinionated.
Okay, yeah, that seems fitting.
He did things that weren't good, and then I don't know. He's complicated. You'll see. When he arrived back in Washington State, Truman had one goal, and that goal was to become rich. To achieve this goal, he began prospecting. Gave it a try.
What's that?
It's like trying to find precious metals. So like trying to be a miner.
I'm picturing surveying. You know how people
like finding land. No, he was prospecting, and like granted, it was the gold rush at that time, or no, it wasn't. But there was a lot of mining going on. That's 100 years ago. But
yes, the 49ers.
The 49ers.
After 1949.
The 1949ers. Just kidding. No, that wasn't it. But there is mining to be done in Washington. You can pan for metals there, but it didn't work out for him. Didn't go well. And so he had to find the next most lucrative business in the 1920s, which was... 1920s.
Yes, I'm trying to think of the word. It was prohibition. He did a little speakeasy type thing.
Yeah, a little speakeasy action, a little bootlegging. That's what he did.
Okay.
Truman's job was smuggling alcohol from San Francisco to Washington State during Prohibition.
Easy enough.
It sounds like it went well for him. I don't think he ever got arrested, but at some point he got bored with that, moved back to Chehalis, Washington, where he opened an auto shop called Truman Sudden Service.
Oh, sudden.
I know.
Sounds like a heart attack.
It sounds like he ambushes people to fix their car.
You need a new tire.
Just puts it on in the middle of the night. Then he married the Sawmill's daughter, a classic American tale.
I'm in love with the
Sawmill's daughter. Yeah, exactly. And despite already living in a small town, Truman felt like he was surrounded by too many people. He really liked being in the wilderness. Didn't like the hustle and bustle of 1930s Chehalis, Washington, which there were probably like 10 people.
Oh, geez. But he likes cats. We know that.
Loves cats.
That's going to be me.
Yeah, I identify with a lot of aspects of Truman. He ended up signing a 50-acre lease for a plot of wilderness overlooking Spirit Lake and Mount St. Helens. So there he goes on his plot of land. There he opened a gas station, grocery store, and eventually he built built with his own bare hands a lodge that he called Mount St. Helens Lodge. It was 2 stories, and he ran that for guests for 52 years.
Wow. Also, people who open up gas stations amaze me. The logistics of it.
Right. How?
I
How?
don't know.
And I'm pretty sure he like built it from the ground up. I don't think there was already a gas station in the middle of the woods.
Yeah, like surely there was not already a gas station. Surely I mean, where do you store it? Out like in
How?
barrels under the ground, right?
Probably it's
but,
like piped in somehow.
Get it up into the pump and
That's true. I never thought about
hate
that
it.
before. That is really scary.
No, that's
It's
something I
giant
think
tanks
about.
underneath the gas station,
What
and they
a-
deliver it via truck.
Wow, what a
But then
liability.
how do they pump it out? Is it just like siphon?
I don't know.
Yeah, you pull the trigger and it must just push it out. I don't know.
These are the things I think about.
Yeah, it seems like a very lofty, like,
Too
but
stressful.
profitable, I assume.
Speaking of gas stations, I need to stop by one. The Mega Millions is at like almost 400 million.
Jesus, can you imagine? Like, how's that even possible?
Can I imagine? I think about it all the time.
That's true. Well, I hope you win.
Me too.
In the 1930s, he divorced his first wife and married his second wife, but that second marriage was short. Because it sounds like Truman was kind of an abusive asshole. According to Wikipedia, he would quote unquote win arguments by throwing his wife into Spirit Lake. And
Okay, that's not winning.
no, and I don't know, like, I don't know how serious it was, like, if it was like a funny like story someone told, you know, like, oh, like grandpa used to throw grandma in the lake and like it was cute and funny, or if it sounds serious to me.
Yeah.
Because apparently she couldn't swim.
To me, that's never cute.
No.
I don't think it's cool to push people into pools.
Oh, I 100% agree with you. I'm just saying, I don't know if he was trying to drown her or
if he's just trying
if
to
he was just a dick.
choke her.
Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously not good.
A
Like,
touch of dry drowning for you.
yeah. But just the fact that I couldn't, like, I mean, if they're saying he tried to murder her, like, that's a pretty serious allegation. It's still serious no matter what. But I don't know the scale. Again, not that it really matters because it's an abusive, terrible thing to do anyway. But I don't have any more facts, and I really wanted more information on that.
Well, me too.
Damn, yeah. They divorced. He started dating another woman before dumping her and marrying her sister, Edna. And
Edna.
that's what the Wikipedia page said. But then other sources I read, it was like Edna's sister told her, because Edna was in a bad marriage, and she was like, you know, you should clear your head, go stay in the wilderness, stay at this lodge. And there is where she met Truman. So I don't know for sure that he was dating Edna's sister. Maybe that's how she knew about the lodge. It's a little bit hard to find solid info on that. But Wikipedia says he was dating her sister, but then saw Edna, and it was love at first sight with Edna. Like, they loved each other immediately.
I kind of like the name Edna.
It's cute. And she didn't go by Edna. I think she went by Eddie. I have it in my notes later on.
Oh, a little
but
Tom girl.
yeah, Eddie's also a cute
Tomboy,
name.
I guess. Not Tom girl.
According to a former worker at the lodge, Truman worshipped her. He and Edna ran the Mount St. Helens Lodge together. They also expanded it. They would rent out cabins, boats, horses. It was like a cute little mountain lake resort.
Yeah,
Very
sounds
cute.
Great.
Sounds, yeah,
Like a
I want to
little,
go there.
Mini Estes Park type sitch.
Yeah, it sounds freaking fun.
Too bad it's vaporized.
Right, yeah, too bad it's definitely gone. Meanwhile, Truman earned quite the reputation in the area for his personality.
Or lack thereof.
No, he had a big personality.
Oh, really?
There's no lack in personality for Truman. He had a habit of doing illegal things and like getting out of it, probably because he was a charismatic white man in the 1940s.
Yeah, that
But,
checks out.
I mean, that's how it goes, I guess. When he was caught illegally burning a pile of brush, a forest ranger reported and was like, came on the scene and was like, you can't do that. He got that person drunk so they wouldn't write him a ticket.
Oh my God. And then they pissed out the fire together.
Probably. Like he was just, it sounds like he was just kind of a schmoozer. Like he could kind of like bullshit with people and get out of doing like he would do shitty things, and then he had a big personality and got out of it. He also poached constantly. He would steal gravel from the U.S. Forest Service.
Why though?
Because he owned a lodge and he needed it. I don't know.
Gravel should be free. It's rocks.
It's just rocks. And it's
give
heavy.
Me the gravel.
Yeah. Just give him the gravel. He also fished on indigenous lands using a fake game warden badge. So that's really shitty.
That's bad.
Mm-hmm. When Washington State lowered their sales tax, he continued to charge the higher amount at his
that's
lodge.
Business, baby.
Yeah, it's just smart business. And ultimately, though, a tax agent employee ended up going to the lodge just for fun, I think, and rented a boat. And then Truman tried to charge him the old sales tax, and him being a state sales tax employee was like, that's not right. I know what numbers are. Truman pushed him into Spirit Lake. So he sounds like he just really liked pushing people in
his
lake.
MO. Yeah.
He once refused to let Supreme Court Justice William O. Douglas stay at his hotel. He didn't recognize who he was and dismissed him as some old coot. He just like didn't like him, didn't want him staying there.
Oh my God. Let me say this. Before Roe v. Wade was overturned, I would not have recognized most of the Supreme Court justices.
I don't. Same.
Memorizing their fucking faces.
Yeah. I'll know them when I see them.
I'll know.
I'll know.
And I'm going to let you stay.
He did not recognize him, but then I think someone else was at the lodge and they're like, do you know who that was? And he's like, no. And then they told him. So he found out they were important, chased them a mile on foot, and convinced him to come back to his lodge and stay there.
Oh my God, I would definitely not be staying if you chased me on foot. I'd be like, clearly you're mad.
That's a crazy person. Yeah.
Why are you going to run when you could just not?
Right. That's true. Truman loved whiskey cokes, talking politics, swearing, his cats, and his pink 1957 Cadillac.
Ooh, I like it too.
It's cute. He hated Republicans, hippies, young children, and the elderly. So I can relate to a lot of these things.
It's not that I hate the elderly. It just, they make me sad.
Yeah, they make me very uncomfortable.
What is the psychology behind that? I need to know.
I think it reminds me that I'm going to get old, and I don't like that. So this is the man we were dealing with when in March of 1980, Mount St. Helens began to show signs of imminent eruption. The volcanic activity started with a series of tremors. Then a week later, a minor eruption occurred when steam and ash rose through the crater and some of its vents. So it's just giving a little poof for us. By April, these small eruptions and earthquakes were occurring almost daily, and locals were noticing changes to the structure of the mountain.
Oh my God, that would be terrifying.
How fucking scary. Can you imagine? And this was going on for once. So it's like, at what point do you leave? And like, are you like, what if you can't afford to? Like, what if you don't have family in the area? What if you can't afford a hotel? Like, it's a shit situation.
Yeah. How far does your mom live from Mount St. Helens?
We live pretty far from Mount St. Helens. Mount St. Helens is on like the border of Oregon and Washington, and we live about 2.5 hours away from that, maybe 3 hours, maybe more. I don't know exactly.
Well, you flew
but pretty
over
far.
it.
Yeah, we flew over it because we were going south to Nevada.
That's cool.
Yeah. By the way, Alec has a picture that we took of Mount St. Helens. Is that how you know about that?
Yeah, I saw
the picture. Yeah, from the
Instagram.
airplane. It's really cool. Maybe we'll put it on Instagram. Anyway, all this was happening, and Truman remained unfazed, at least outwardly. He frequently gave interviews to reporters expressing his lack of concern and belief that the danger was exaggerated. Quote, I don't have any idea when it's going to blow, but I don't believe it to the point that I'm going to pack up. So,
okay. It's giving Trump.
Yeah, it's giving denial, I think. And by this time, Truman's wife, Edna, had passed away. She had died 2 years earlier in 1978. About her, Truman says, quote, "She was a beautiful woman and everyone liked her and knew her as Eddie. She never had any heart problems, but all at once, a big heart attack and she's gone. It broke me up real bad."
Oh,
so
that is sad.
It is really sad. Her death was really sudden. And a lot of people think that that's part of the reason why he didn't want to leave. It's because they ran that place together and lived there together for so long. Leaving would probably feel like leaving her. And maybe some of his will to live was gone at that point because it sounds like they really were in love. But by this point, it's only Truman and his cats. And he really also considered his cats his family now.
Totally. I saw this TikTok video. I think he's a big YouTuber guy. He's... Oh, what's his name? His name is like Cat Daddy or something. He's bald and has a goatee.
Oh, yes, the cat whisperer guy.
Yeah. And he was talking about how you should block anything that cats can get under in case of emergency because you're not going to be able to like grab the cat. And then when you came to pick up Ernie the other day and we had to like get him from underneath the bed and the couch, I was like, oh my God, if we ever have a fire, we're fucked.
Yeah, that's
because I'm not leaving without my cats.
Right, I'll burn with
to
them.
Die.
That's true. But they like going under stuff.
I know.
I don't want to deny them that, but I probably should.
It's tough. Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm not going to do it, but it's a good idea.
A scientific study at this point found a bulge of magma more than a mile in diameter under the surface of the mountain.
Oh my God.
And it could be seen moving upward and outward along the northern slope by as much as 6 feet per day. So they were literally watching like the magma coming on up, getting ready.
Oh my God. Mount St. Helens is like, I'm going to throw up.
Yeah. I ate too much Chipotle. This is when things get serious. Authorities evacuated hundreds of people from the area directly surrounding the mountain, fearing that a volcanic eruption could happen at any day.
Oh my God. After this, I'm going to go home and just watch videos of this eruption on YouTube.
It's nuts. And you can see pictures like it's crazy.
There's nothing I love / also hate more than watching disasters happen. That sounds so crazy, but like, have you ever watched huge waves on YouTube?
I can't.
From like ships or like volcanoes, earthquakes. Like, it's insane. I don't know why. It's just mesmerizing.
Alex into the tornadoes. So I've seen a lot of those.
Well, my algorithm is into tornadoes, and so now I am by proxy.
Yeah, you are your algorithm. So
yeah, your phone knows you better than you know yourself.
It's true. I keep fucking watching them.
Truman, at 83 years old, refused to leave. He said, quote, "If the mountain goes, I'm going with it."
Oh, yeah. He's old. At that point, he knows what he wants.
Exactly. And it's hard to say if he, like, really knew it was going to happen or if he really was, like, in so much denial he thought he was immune. Because I don't know. From a lot of his quotes, it seems like he came to terms with it. And a lot of other stuff makes it seem like he didn't think he was going to be harmed. Like he said, quote, "This area is heavily timbered. Spirit Lake is between me and the mountain is a mile away. The mountain ain't going to hurt me." So he was kind of cavalier.
I think it can be both. I think it can be that, he's in denial. He doesn't think it will actually happen or affect him that much if it does. But if it does, then that's okay.
Yeah, I think so too.
To him.
And I mean, it's kind of like that thing, like you don't know something bad is going to happen to you until it does,
Yeah.
It's hard to imagine your own death. But
For
some.
I worry about it all the time.
Same. So from this quote, though, we are hearing that there is only a mile and a lake between Truman and a 9,680-foot volcano. So massive.
Yeah.
Like the fact that he thought that some trees in a lake were going to stop him from getting hurt.
He just doesn't know numbers.
He just does. I don't think he just doesn't care.
If the volcano's 2 miles high and you're a mile away from it, not good.
No. Does does not check out. Even still, though, he was determined. Quote, "You couldn't pull me out with a mule team. The mountain's part of Truman, and Truman's part of that mountain." Truman's refusal to leave the mountain and his big personality made him a media sensation. He often gave interviews holding his signature Schleeny's whiskey and Coke. He was just like I don't know. He was a character. People liked talking to him. One article I read said he also distilled his own whiskey and called it Panther Piss. So he was just like drunk a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, he was drunk a lot.
Reporters were frequently breaking into the restricted zone around the volcano to speak to Truman and get quotes like, quote, "The mountain has shot its wad and it hasn't hurt my place a bit, but those goddamn geologists with their hair down to their butts won't pay no attention to old Truman." So he was kind of a crotchety old man who had good sound bites.
Yeah, that's great, actually.
Truman estimated the magnitude of earthquakes by observing how much the Rainier beer sign that he had hanging on his bar was swinging.
Science.
And he knew that when it swung hard enough to hit the back of the wall or the back wall, he knew that was a 5.
Oh my God, I'm just picturing him like probably way more decrepit than he actually was, just like on all fours, almost like scavenging through his house or like up on
the earthquakes are just happening and he's hopping around on all fours like a gremlin.
Yes, exactly, like a gremlin. That's what I'm picturing. And he just has like an adult diaper on.
No
it wasn't.
Shirt. Oh my God, that's scary.
It is.
It wasn't that scary. A 5, just to put it into perspective, on the Richter scale is considered a moderate earthquake, and these are happening very frequently. The earthquakes had gotten so bad they were knocking Truman from his bed at night. Can you imagine? And he was just like, "This is fine." In response, though, he moved his mattress to the basement. So being underground, you shake a little less. It helps. And he claimed to reporters that he wore spurs to bed to hold himself in.
Just get a hammock. That's all you have to do.
That's
just
true.
Go with the motion of the ocean.
Yeah, put some rails on your bed. I don't know.
Get a Velcro suit and put Velcro on your wall.
Get whatever astronauts sleep in.
Yeah.
Tape
Velcro,
yourself
right?
down. Yeah. Truman appeared on the front page of the New York Times and the San Francisco Examiner. He also received attention from National Geographic, United Press International, Time Magazine, Life Magazine, Newsweek, Field and Stream, Reader's Digest, and to the Today Show. So he really was a celebrity at this time. He was getting a lot of attention and he fucking loved it. He ate it up. He loved giving these interviews. He was having a blast.
Yeah, people like him do enjoy that type of thing.
For sure. And besides being a sensational news story, like I said earlier, he was becoming a hero, especially in the region, but all across the United States as well. School children around the area were writing songs, poems, and letters that they were sending him. Adults wrote him songs too. Tom Hunter wrote a song called Harry Truman, and it begins, quote, "He lived up there since 29, run a lodge and filled his time, drinking whiskey, raising cats, and telling big tales. And now the mountain home he had was shaking like the earth gone mad. When they warned him, he said, 'No, I think I'll stay.'"
Oh,
isn't that cute?
That's cute. I need somebody to do that for me.
All you have to do is get killed by a volcano on purpose. Women sent him marriage proposals. One group of children from Salem, Oregon sent him banners that said, "Harry, we love you." And he was so moved by this, he took a helicopter ride sponsored by National Geographic to visit them on May 14th or March 14th.
He flies over Mount St. Helens. They're like, look, it's literally right there.
Yeah.
Also, only in America could such honest stupidity be so
lauded.
Yes.
Yeah. And it wasn't like everyone wasn't praising him. A lot of people were.
But for anyone, honestly.
Right. I think it was just a source of entertainment. And then there were people begging him not to stay because he was on the news so much and he had this fun personality. A lot of people really cared about him. There was one group of children from Grand Blanc, Michigan, And they all, like, I think as like a class project, wrote him letters begging him to come down from the mountain because they thought they knew he was going to die.
Can you imagine being that teacher explaining to the parents what the class project was?
That is pretty nuts.
There's this kook in the mountains.
Yeah, there's a crazy man who is just going to let himself be killed by a volcano for fun on TV.
For fun.
It's so great.
Get vaped, bro.
Right. He was the original vapor. So all these kids wrote him letters, and it, I guess, really moved him. He was brought to tears, I think, on TV, reading these letters.
And did
begging
nothing?
him to come down. He didn't do nothing. He wrote back, and he also sent them a sample of ash from the volcano, which the children then sold after he died in order to raise money to send flowers to his family. So in a pretty macabre turn of events.
Okay, was not expecting that.
Mm-hmm. Because Truman did die. Authorities made one last desperate attempt to convince him to leave the mountain before the blast, but he refused. The mountain blew on May 18th in a blast so loud it could be heard 200 miles away.
Oh my God.
45 miles away, streams got so hot that salmon leapt out of the water and onto the banks. The explosion began with a level 5 earthquake and a giant landslide of rock and ice, one of the largest in recorded history. So that's what happens with an earthquake is first it heats up and there's an earthquake, and then that causes like a bunch of ice to melt and then a huge landslide.
I cannot wait to go home and YouTube this.
And then this landslide was quickly overtaken and liquefied by a blast of steam and volcanic gases. The blast stripped all the trees within 6 miles from the slope and leveled all vegetation as far as 12 miles away. The avalanche careened down the mountain at speeds of 100 miles an hour, flooding Spirit Lake and burying nearby Toutle River and the river valley by an average depth of 150 feet with debris.
Oh my God.
There were subsequent mud flows, pyroclastic flows, and I had to look it up. A pyroclastic flow is a mixture of rock fragments, gas, and ash that goes down. So basically another landslide, but with like gas and shit.
Yeah.
Also floods from the melting glaciers. It all added to the devastation.
The mud flood.
The Lahar. A mushroom cloud of ash over 12 miles high rose up above the mountain. And
you could see it from space, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. And ash rained down on Northwest cities like snow and drifted around the world for weeks. In all, 210 square miles of wilderness were destroyed. Thousands and thousands of animals and fish were killed, as well as 57 people. Among them, of course, was Truman. Truman was so close to the blast that he probably died in under a second. It was too fast for his reflexes to even register pain, so he died painlessly without even knowing he was going to die. He died of heat shock, which is cell collapse and death caused by protein malfunction. So basically your cells just burn.
Honestly, it sounds like a great way to go.
Yeah, it sounds like the perfect way to go.
That's what I'm looking for.
Me too.
Can
Maybe just move to a volcano. Yeah. It's possible he was then vaporized almost instantly. So what happens with vaporization is it's first your water, then your organs and skin, then your bones. So a man Truman's size had about 100 pounds of water in his body. So boiling evaporates, then your organs and skin, then your bones. Very few things can vaporize a human body in seconds. One of those things is a volcano. Another is an atom bomb. And Mount St. Helens released about the energy equivalent of several thousand Hiroshima bombs over its 9-hour-long eruption.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You hear that? Any criminals who are trying to burn bodies after you murder them, you can't burn them.
You can't.
Well,
you can't vaporize them in under a second.
It's
you can
not
burn
easy.
Them. It's not easy. No.
We've got to volcano the bodies.
Yeah, throw it in a volcano. So, like we said, it's seems a little like Harry was at peace and ready for his time to come. According to him, quote, life comes in 3 parts. First, you work your ass off and get a few coupons to clip. Then you hang around the crest for a while. Then it's all downhill and clipping coupons. If you're lucky, just riding her out. And that's where I am now, kind of coming down the hill. So
It's very into coupons.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to get into the coupon stage of my life.
I need to get on. Yeah, couponing. That's something that stresses me out because I'm not good at confrontation. And I feel like whenever I use a coupon, I'm stressing out the people behind me in line.
Especially at the drive-through. I'm like, when do I tell them I have a coupon?
It's stressful. They need to make it easier.
They need to make it way easier.
But they won't.
I just don't want to deal with people anymore. But also, don't get rid of jobs.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, it's good. Like, people should use coupons. That's just a smart thing to do. I don't fault anyone for using it. My anxiety just cannot. And maybe these meds will help. Maybe I'll be able to use coupons now. Immediately after the blast.
Maybe I'll be able to use coupons and stop thinking about how gas stations work. Logistically.
Maybe how to open a gas station will no longer keep me up at night. Immediately after the blast, Truman's friends and relatives were hopeful he'd survived.
Girl.
Yeah, that was not
Don't
so
do that to
great.
yourself.
Yeah. No. He apparently did have an abandoned mine shaft that he had provisioned with food and whiskey in case of an explosion, but it happened so suddenly that he would not have had enough warning before the major blast to make it down there.
Yeah.
And even if he had it, he was buried by 150 feet of like rocks and mud and shit.
God,
so
yeah.
like
That'd be worse.
He would be trapped down there and suffocated no matter what. Let's see. Harry R. Truman was memorialized in countless articles, memorabilia. So people were selling like baseball caps and T-shirts with him on it. And books. Also, over 100 songs have been written about him. Truman's Trail and Harry's Ridge near Mount St. Helens were named after him. Truman was described by friends and family as, quote, a very opinionated person.
Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah.
He literally died on that hill.
Yeah, exactly. He was stubborn for sure. He loved Spirit Lake and the mountain. His niece Shirley says, quote, he used to say, that's my mountain and my lake. And he would say, those are my arms and my legs. So I don't really know what that means, but it sounds like he likes the mountain.
Okay, Grandpa.
His cousin Richard commented that Truman's short time as a celebrity was, quote, the peak of his life. So he really did have a good time at the end. And his friend John said, quote, he always said he wanted to die at Spirit Lake and he went the way he wanted to go. So I don't think we have to feel bad for him. I think he got exactly what he wanted.
Oh, yeah. I do not feel bad for him. I feel glad for him.
Yeah. The last verse of Tom Hunter's song reads, quote, now some may say death's like going home, how the worst fate is to die alone, far from the people and places you have known. Maybe that's why Harry wouldn't leave. It doesn't really matter what we believe. Whether dead or alive, Harry's still at home. And that is the story of Harry R. Truman, the man who stayed.
Wow. I love that so much.
Thank you. Isn't that fun?
That is fun.
Maybe fun's the wrong
Interesting.
word.
No, it was fun to talk about and to riff on.
Yeah.
I guess it was fun. You know, he died how he wanted to.
Exactly.
And
I don't think there's
that's
anything
great.
to be sad about. I mean, obviously, whenever someone dies, it's not usually a good thing. But I mean, he if anyone was asking for it, it was him.
But what was he wearing?
I don't. Right. No, it sounds like he accepted exactly what was going to happen, and he went painlessly, and he got to have some fun in the process.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun
Thank
while
you
it
for
lasted.
And I looked up the 150 feet of stuff that landed on him would be a 14-story building.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
That's deep.
Is deep.
Yeah, he gone.
He is gone. But yeah, we went up Crystal Mountain. There's like gondolas that take you up this big mountain, and there's an overlook. You can see Mount Rainier, Mount Adams, and Mount St. Helens from there. And so we were looking out, and my mom was like, you know, there was a guy who like refused to stay, and he was on he refused to leave, and he was on the news all the time. And so I looked him up, and it turned out being a pretty cool story. So thanks, Mom.
So neat. Aww.
Yeah. My sources are
I'll show you the pictures.
My sources are the Harry R. Truman Wikipedia page, Mount St. Helens Erupts on History.com, Harry versus the Volcano by Sam Keane on ScienceHistory.org, and Harry Truman Still Believed in Love as Mount St. Helens Eruption Loomed, Refused to Leave the Mountain That Gave Him Everything by Douglas Perry on OregonLive.com, and Jesus Christ, Douglas Perry, learn how to title better. That was long.
Yeah, that was a bit much.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening. And yeah, check us out. Come to our cocktail hour on Patreon. Love to see you there. As always, thanks for listening. Remember to tell a friend. Please rate, review, and subscribe. Bury those ratings about my Valley Girl accent, please, with good ones. And, as always, we love you. Thank you. And 3, 2, 1. Class dismissed.
Nice show.